Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a triumphant Tuesday and a fantastic start to your weeks. I have got so much to cover with you in this video, to the point where when I was kind of putting it together and going over what I was going to talk about, I actually had to cut some sort of segments out. So I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible, but I just have so much to cover with you. The party is about to start for Cardano, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be getting into why that is in this video. We are absolutely going to be diving into the charts, and I'm going to be showing you some exceptionally interesting things that I believe taking place. You know, one thing that I do most is look for patterns in charts and look for probabilities of patterns repeating, and Cardano right now is showing me those signs that we are going to see that impulsive move to the upside. We are exceptionally bullish on Cardano. We're also going to be covering some criticism. I had a lot of people send me a video yesterday regarding Cardano. I think the title of the video was Cardano Has Lost. This isn't a hit piece on that individual. I actually find him a very charismatic and entertaining individual to watch. I just don't agree at all with the sentiment that Cardano has lost. We're going to go over his reasonings for making that statement and why that is indeed wrong. And Cardano has anything but lost. Cardano is a cryptocurrency that's here to stay. And when I look at Cardano, I can't help but look at it as a fantastic investment, whether that be short-term, long-term. It was Jeff Bezos that said, if you want to look for something to invest in, look for something that's going to change the world. You have that opportunity in front of you today, ladies and gentlemen, not just with Cardano, with many of the cryptos that have come out of this beautiful technology, this blockchain technology that has really been awakened with Bitcoin. So we are going to talk about that, go into why that statement was made and why perhaps it's not, or I certainly, in my opinion, believe it's incorrect. We're going to talk about a number of things. We're going to be going over the fact this came out today by the Cardano community. Over 2 million ADA wallets. We are seeing growth on a network level across the board, whether that be transactions, whether that be native assets, whether that be network usage, whether that be transaction fees, you name it, we're seeing it, ladies and gentlemen, and the price is not reflecting that. Many of you who watched yesterday's video will know that we had essentially retweeted something from Altcoin Daily, where he's talking about all metrics on the on-chain analytics for Cardano are going in one direction, and that is up, and the price is going to follow. How many of you guys remember the videos that we made on Bitcoin when it was down here, saying that regardless of the price, the on-chain metrics are strong, and that is always typically a catalyst for the price to follow. The on-chain metrics kick in a lot sooner, often, than price. They are very correlated, but there's a bit of a kind of laggard effect, and this is what we're seeing in Cardano today. So we have an awful lot to cover. Where I really want to start, guys, is why do I think the party's about to start for Cardano? Well, the party never ended for me, but for many of you investors that are new to ADA, I'm seeing a lot of people leave comments saying that they've sold their ADA to jump into other coins, to chase into coins that are pumping at the moment. That's not something I would ever really recommend doing. You want to invest in a product, into an investment, when the price is stagnant. I mean, the best opportunity to make money in crypto was in the bear market, where the price literally went sideways. I mean, it was brutal. And ultimately, if you don't have those underlying beliefs in what you're investing in, you're really going to struggle to hold. That's why doing your due diligence is so important. Don't follow people on YouTube. Use them as a source of information, as a tool to apply when you're making an investment decision, perhaps, but one of many. You know, you need to look at all outcomes, or you need to look at all angles of what you're investing in. So with that being said, that out the way, very quickly before I dive into the video, guys, we did launch the Discord yesterday. It's mainly all-in crypto stake pool focused. But you guys are welcome to join. We're hoping to build up a great community there. I will leave another link in the description of this video. I'll also post it on Twitter later. Some people were saying they were having a few issues. But it's great to see that we've got people joining. We're having a bit of a discussion in there. And I'm excited to see what the future brings for this community. Remember, we do have the stake pool. We're now at nearly 200,000 Cardano delegated. We will get to the point where we are minting blocks, ladies and gentlemen. That is something I am unbelievably confident about. You know, I am dedicated and committed to becoming an active part in the Cardano ecosystem and helping to run the Cardano network. It makes sense for us to do that as a channel and as a community. So if you guys want to delegate, the pool is all in. That being said, let's jump into the charts. Now, why do I think the party's going to start? First of all, we're going to pull up a number of things, but how many times have I told you that this structure here is just repeating over here? The same thing was applicable for Bitcoin, many other altcoins out there, Ethereum. But what I actually want to do is I want to look at this from a different angle, and this is something that I don't see anybody on YouTube doing. Maybe for obvious reasons, I don't know. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comment section. But what I want to do is I want to invert this chart. So I want to flip it on its head. So right now, up is obviously up in price and down is obviously down. I'm going to click Alt-I, which is how you invert your chart. And this has inverted the chart. So now down is actually up and up is down. I'm sure many of you get that, and I don't really need to explain it. Now I'm looking for structure, I'm looking for patterns here. I'm looking for falling wedges, I'm looking for rising wedges, I'm looking for cup and handles, you name it. And we'll talk about Bitcoin in just a second because Bitcoin looks exceptionally strong, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go over a number of patterns that are present there and why, you need to look at Bitcoin at this moment in time because the market is so heavily correlated to Bitcoin. There's no getting around that. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin's a superior technology or anything like that. Bitcoin maximalism is absolutely stupid. It's like being the first computer maximalist. You now have a computer in the form of your smartphone that is a millionth more powerful than the first computer created. It doesn't make sense in a technology assuming that the first of its kind is the best. It's not how technology works. It evolves and it doesn't really work like that. I think Bitcoin is brilliant, etc., etc. Trying not to ramble on here, guys, because I've got a lot to go over, but that is pretty hard for me. Now, I'm sure already you can see what's present. We're going to look at this on 3 different time frames. This structure here, which, remember, when it was the right way up, we said is what's playing out today, is playing out again today. I'll quickly overlay a bar pattern for you guys to really show you that it is absolutely present and applicable. You're going to have to forgive me here, guys. I've got a number of applications running on the computer, so it may be a little bit slow. But I'm sure you guys are seeing the kind of structure that I'm talking about. I'm talking about this structure over here playing out again today, and this is going to lead to a spill in the case of the inverted chart to the downside, which of course is the upside, and obviously vice versa. If we quickly invert it again, you can see what I'm applying here. And this is why I think the party's going to get started. This is typical. There's fundamental reasons. We've covered on a number of occasions why is the price of Cardano doing what it's doing when we're seeing altcoins out there do very, very well. Well, there's a lot of altcoins that are very news driven at the moment. We're seeing that with POLKADOT and their parachains. Something like Solana is very media promoted. They have big exchanges like FTX, Raoul Pal, people like this really promoting and backing it, celebrities. So that's a reason for, the crypto market as a whole is very hype driven, but there is a natural progression to this market, and that goes Bitcoin, Ethereum, larger altcoins, smaller altcoins, etc., etc. There's a flow of money into these markets, and we are going to talk about the flow of money in just a second in relation to some of the comments that Cardano has lost, that it's failed, and it's not doing very well. It's doing fantastic, guys. Maybe the price isn't reflecting that just yet, but this is unrealized and is going to get to a point where it becomes very realized. I'm confident in that, and it's been hard in many ways to try and keep people motivated, to keep people focused on what's happening, because there's so much going on in disregard to the price that it can be very hard to cover and emphasize. And I understand and totally respect. It's why I got into cryptocurrencies, and it's why I'm largely still here today. Although I've very much fallen in love with blockchain and what I think it can do for the world. It's going to have pros and cons. But one reason we talk about the price, because I know it's why everyone's here, or certainly many of you are here, and there's nothing wrong with that. People that try and shame you for being in crypto because you are interested in the price, they are just ignorant, in my opinion. I understand there are people out there that have developed these protocols. Charles doesn't like to talk about price, but he certainly acknowledges, unbelievably smart individual, way smarter than anybody talking on YouTube, let me tell you that right now. He understands that price is a huge driving factor in this space, even though he doesn't talk about it because he's created it. He understands, there's something far bigger for him going on here than price, and there is that. Blockchain technology offers a huge olive branch to the world. You're in this rising wedge here, which of course is applicable to the upside. And you also form this over here, ladies and gentlemen. So not only is the bar pattern exceptionally accurate, we won't really count these horrible, nasty wicks because these are largely liquidation driven. When you see these wicks, just know that liquidations have taken place. And we are absolutely anticipating a spill to the downside. Now, if this pattern had only played out here, you could say, okay, well, it's only really played out once. how sure can I be that it's going to play out again? But this is perfect structure. This is that overhanging branch that we spoke about in relation to Bitcoin. This is, of course, in regards to Bitcoin, was called your Wyckoff distribution. But can you see this overhang here? Overhang. These overhanging kind of, they're not, I mean, you could call them topping out structures, not in the sense of like a bull market topping out, but in the sense that they're kind of, it shows a weakening of the trend, and that you're building up strength to the opposition, to the opposite side. Now what I want to do is switch it to a larger time frame to show you that it is also present. What I also want to do is, bear with me guys, it's been a very long day for me. What I also want to do is switch it to a number of other time frames to kind of show you that, you know, this is present. This is what you're looking at, ladies and gents. We'll put it on log, because this is going to best illustrate it. Can you see what happens? In the same way, EMAs, people don't like EMAs. EMAs are actually quite a useful tool to apply to your charts because they'll give you a good indication of where there's strength and weakness. For example, if you're below the EMA, it's a weak market, and until you break it, you have no kind of a confirmation of a flip. And obviously, this being the inverted chart, this is obviously to the upside, which in the inverted chart is showing it to the downside. And you're strong when you're below it, and vice versa when you're above it. You know, you've got a bit of a downtrend. You're there today waiting for this impulsion. And this, I mean, you can see over here as well, ladies and gentlemen, is where it's played out. Can you see what I'm showing you? I hope this is apparent. And this is kind of putting things, a different slant on things. Nobody looks at the inverted charts. Inverted charts are very useful. I don't know whether being dyslexic, looking at things upside down, you know, simplifies things for me or what. You can see you did a kind of volatile version of this over here or here, for example. Many people say that this is really when the bull market should have naturally progressed. You were starting to come out of your bear market, and then we got hit with 2020 March. So I hope I'm showing you this structure and that it plays out time and time again. You want to look for patterns, and we've been bullish on Cardano this whole time. We still stand by where we think it's going. A $7.50 to $10 price prediction. If you're calling that unrealistic, you've got no idea what you're on about. Seriously. You know, there's so many people in the comments that go, we'll be lucky if we make $3. We'll be lucky if we make, you know, $2.50. Just watch the space, you know, until things happen. And if we're saying it's going to $7.50, nobody's right and nobody's wrong yet because it's not actually played out. You know, it's all opinion based until it happens. You know, a victor doesn't emerge. So can you see hopefully what I'm showing you here? This structure that you're currently in today played out here. It played out here. It played out here, but in a volatile version here. You can see it's applicable. You know, can you see how you're coming up? You break out to the downside, which of course is the up. And the next one I want to show you before we go on to the criticism in regards to the fact that Cardano was lost and why this was really based. It's based on institutional inflows that we're going to show you on CoinShare and their report that they do, which is a good indication. Again, no bad intentions with me making this video towards that individual. I think he's an extremely charismatic and good entertaining YouTuber, but I just think that statement was rather wrong and very inaccurate on a number of levels, which we're going to get into in a second. So can you see here what you're doing? And you can really see our Elliott wave theory. Remember, we got this Elliott wave theory in play. Market moves in a wave-like form. Remember, we've done things such as looking at the Wall Street cheat sheet, you know, that kind of wave-like structure that we believe is playing out and applying it to Cardano. How much depression would you say is in the market right now in regards to Cardano holders? And they've been kind of battered down. And this is where Wall Street will get you before looking to kind of pump things to the other side. And you can see you've got your wave theory here. Funny, you had a hard fork here, and of course hard fork here. Very interesting as well. When I look at the Cardano chart, certainly when I look at volume, when I look at RSI, I'll flip it to the right way up for just 1 second. I actually think this was premature, this run here, and I think this was all hard fork driven. I think the market's natural progression, you know, was you had many coins that didn't actually come over and take their prior all-time highs from obviously when we sold off in May till much later. Like some of them are just doing it now. Cardano had already done that. It moved almost prematurely from when, remember me talking about the market's natural progression of things. I almost think that that was premature, and we're seeing the kind of cool off from that we see with every hard fork. So back to the inverted chart. We'll talk about Bitcoin in a second, then we'll move on to the criticism that Cardano faces. You can see this EMA is your support band, your support area. This is where you typically will bounce, and look at where you are today. The party is about to get started. Doesn't mean it has to happen right now. You know, you could do something like this where you sort of come and you maybe consolidate in it before you get that impulse. But this is your support. This is what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. And we are anticipating a continuation. We're anticipating Elliott wave theory playing out. We're anticipating this market moving in the direction that I believe it's going to. You are in a bull market. There's no two ways about that. And, you know, Cardano is a part of that, whether you refuse to believe it or not. So the party's about to get started. We're still going to do the Solana versus Cardano video, or not really versus, a comparison where they trade things off. We're going to look at the three main elements of a blockchain, which is security, scalability, and decentralization. Certainly that's the kind of principles of a blockchain or a crypto, if you will. I think decentralization, certainly with Binance, and we're seeing it with Solana now, I think people will just make money regardless of what's behind it, or they'll invest in something if they think it's going to make them money. We see that with Doge and Shiba. I'm more than happy that people have made money from it, but as a crypto, they're very unimpressive, extremely unimpressive. Dogecoin, of course, its own crypto. It's merged with the Litecoin mining, and Shiba Inu is at ERC20. You can't compare them with something like Solana, Cardano, and Binance. They're blockchains apart. They're worlds apart. So I hope that that's making somewhat sense. I'm trying not to ramble on. I knew this was going to be a long video just because I've got so much to cover. We actually had to cut things out. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks fantastic. You guys will remember this inverse head and shoulders that we had essentially tweeted about on the channel, and it has played out somewhat. It's not come to absolute fruition yet. This was of course the inverted chart that we had put up for Bitcoin. Remember, looking at charts upside down is fantastic. Not many people calling for this inverse head and shoulders, by the way, and when we said it, we'll do that again today. And in actual fact, this could be a potential right shoulder as well. So this was the kind of head and shoulders that we're calling for. Left shoulder, head, sorry, and then right shoulder. Your right shoulder was slightly weaker than your left, which is a precursor. You could also say that this potentially is a neckline. Let me make this a little bit smaller because you guys aren't really going to be able to see it because my big, massive head's in the way. And this potentially could be your right shoulder, or a form of it, with this being the neckline here. And this is significantly weaker than your right shoulder. And when your left shoulder is weaker than your right shoulder, there's a very good probability, if you already have the head and shoulders in play, that it's going to play out, because what it's showing is market weakness on that level. And you can also see with the inversion here, in much the same way that we said we'll stop confusing everybody and put the charts the right way up for Cardano but leave it on for Bitcoin. In much the same way that we said this is playing out here, Bitcoin did the same thing. You know, credence to the fact that markets follow Bitcoin. I mean, if you want to know that if markets follow Bitcoin, just go and look at the total market cap and then the total too, which is altcoins. It's just following the same trajectory. The next thing that I want to, of course, talk about is the criticism, and that is the fact that Cardano was lost, that it's dead, and it was largely based on the inflows. This is CoinShare, which is essentially an institutional sort of arm for investors in the crypto space, kind of like Grayscale in many ways. And you can see, of course, the kind of premise of what the individual was talking about was that the Cardano, in regards to the week's flows, has actually reduced. You know, they're targeting Solana, they're targeting Ethereum, they're targeting Bitcoin, of course, massively, because it's a safer institutional asset, if you will. It's got some sort of regulatory clarity along with Ethereum. And then, of course, they're targeting Solana out of that. But to say that Cardano has lost due to the fact that its weekly inflows in regards to institutions has gone down is not brilliant, because ultimately, do you guys remember last week? I think it was negative on Ethereum, so nobody was buying Ethereum, or certainly in regards to the CoinShare Ethereum last week on the report. That did not mean at all that Ethereum was dead. And in actual fact, if you look at it today, 16.6. It's gone significantly up in regards, and this is institutions and what they do. They'll pick and choose with where they think they can get money from, and ultimately Polkadot has gone up significantly. The reason being, of course, is because of the power chains, etc. And Solana is it's a kind of very well-backed project that's got a lot of hype around it. So I just wanted to make that point very clear. And Cardano has done, to say that it's lost, I mean, it's done absolutely amazing. They are a blockchain that is doing what blockchain was meant to do. and that is change the world. You know, look at what they're doing in Africa, look at what they're doing in the US, look at what they're doing globally. And Cardano, in actual fact, since the start of this bull market, whatever you kind of want to call the start, today is up 10,000%, nearly 11,000%. It hasn't lost anything. In actual fact, it's just started. In regards to blockchain adoption, where it is today and where it's going, in regards to the stuff that we spoke about on the start of the video, in regards to the wallets and how we're now over 2 million wallets, the fact that, I think this was an article that I was reading, in regards to the fact that 73% of Cardano is staked. Very quickly, guys, let's get some delegations to the ALLIN pool. You know, we want to get to that point where we start minting blocks. Join the Discord down below. We want to get discussions. We aren't going to tolerate any kind of nonsense in the Discord, by the way, guys. I'm more than happy for constructive criticism and a opposing view. But what I'm not going to do is put up with nonsense. I'm happy to do that on YouTube because it's a platform, but not in the Discord. This is for the community, and this is for us to grow and learn with one another. If we take a look at ADA pools, it will give us a 71.9% of the overall supply of Cardano is staked. Strong, guys. Our time is coming. The party is going to start. Go and look at your inverted charts. That's really all I have for you guys. We had a lot more that we wanted to cover, but I really didn't want to make this video hours long, or an hour long or so. But we're going to be bringing that out over the coming weeks in regards to the project. We know where we are as a project. Again, you know, we're in the Gogan era. This is the smart contract era. We're about to see this month the Plutus backend implemented. This is where you're going to see smart contracts go from simple to somewhat complex and usable, or deployable, I should say. I'm not the most technical guy in the world. You guys know that my background isn't in cryptography or coding or anything like that. It's in something completely different, but you know, I can see what's going on here. And as a stake pool operator, and having a stake pool, Cardano is exceptionally decentralized. Anybody can become a stake pool operator. Yes, you'll need to learn what to do, or perhaps employ somebody to do that for you, but the cost to entry is very, very low. And this is what cryptography is all. This is what blockchain is all about, and this is what Satoshi really envisioned. Not anybody can run a node. You couldn't run a node on Solana. Good luck. If there's anybody that does run a node on Solana, let me know in the comment section. I'll be sure to look out for that, because it's from what I can gather, very, very expensive. Gavin Wood, the guy who POLKADOT's creator, he also wrote the Ethereum virtual machine. He 5 days ago, he was talking about centralized blockchains and how they're going to come under regulatory scrutiny. He sums this up very, very nicely. You know, it's not really decentralized or inclusive if, you know, people can't operate and help out. So that's really all I have for you in the video, guys. There was a lot that we covered there. Cardano hasn't lost anything. You know, it's doing fantastic, guys. And the price doesn't always determine that. We've given you fundamentals and technical reasons why the price is doing what it's currently doing. Look at the hard forks where they are. And then look at the price action that ensues after, guys. There's reasoning here, there's method, there's logic. Hang in there, guys. I understand people's frustration when you have to watch other coins pump. People were talking about Mana. Somebody said they sold their Cardano for Mana, which is Decentraland. Coins like that are pumping in relation to the metaverse, and obviously Zuckerberg coming out and saying how he wants to essentially create this virtual world that people can live and interact with. I'm not 100% keen on that idea. I think human beings are already exceptionally detached from reality. I think it's one of the main problems that human beings, one reason why there's so much unhappiness in the world, because there's no attachment there, and I'm not really sure people were meant to live in a digital world. That being said, there's going to be a fantastic investment opportunity across the board there. I'm going to love and leave you guys. Remember, get delegated to the ALLIN Cardano stake pool. It's your choice who you want to delegate to at the end of the day, guys, but we are looking to build up community. We're doing some fantastic things. Join the Discord, guys. I'll be happy to hear from you. We've got some fantastic moderators in there, and we're going to be adding moderators and picking and choosing who we want to moderate. There's already some fantastic components who have already been contenders who have already been, or not contenders, people that we're thinking about that have already been exceptionally helpful, and hopefully we can grow as a community. And I'm going to love and leave you guys. I'm going to stop waffling on. Have a fantastic Tuesday, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot, guys.